Bleach Bros, bruh. Oh man, our intro was hijacked, Jake. What in the hell? Welcome to the Bleach Brothers podcast. This is B-Word. And Jake, how you doing tonight?
I'm wonderful, man. Yeah, I had to hijack it. Jake's take, bro.
Ah, man, you know, when you said that you needed to borrow it, I just didn't realize that that's what was going to happen with it.
It's a bleach, bro. You know, I say bro, you say bro.
You know, we say what we say, dude. This is just how it works. You know what I mean?
It's funny. I mean, don't mean to cut you off, but when I moved up here, everybody thought I was a bro, and you know, there's different levels of bros. You know, and
Right.
that's why also I think there's a bro, a bra, a brahim, a bruh. There's a whole bunch. But
Right.
I would consider myself a Portland bro, but not a Vegas bro. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you kind of seem like a Portland bro. I mean, you've got this rainbow hair, and
No.
you know, you deal with all the Portland things.
No, I meant like in the sense of like I'm a bro to them, but if I went back to Vegas, I'm not a bro at all. That's what I mean.
like. So my buddy Jesse and I, we ended up going to Hawaii about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, somewhere in there. And he's a bigger Mexican dude. I mean, I'm a bigger white dude. He's a bigger Mexican dude. And we were walking down the street, and the locals there kept calling him Cuz, you know, because he's got the pigment, you know,
Right.
that the local Samoans and the local Hawaiians have. And so they were calling him Cuz the whole time. And I'm like, man, why are they calling him Cuz? And they're calling me Howley. Like, this is a bad thing, you know what I mean? But it turned out, you know, he looked more Pacific Islander than I did. And so we ended up getting, you know, a lot of fun conversations
you a dumb
in a taxi
Hallie.
cab and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. So I have to tell you, man, okay, so Father's Day is coming up. We just passed Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And what do all fathers get? Or at least what do the majority of fathers get, right? We get new socks.
Socks,
right?
maybe a tool.
Because we all have holes, or we all have holes in our socks. Tools, like you said. Yeah, we get the tools. But man, I got a new pair of chonies today. I got them in the mail actually a couple days ago. And tell me
That's
something.
underwear, right?
Oh yeah.
I didn't
oh,
grow
yeah.
up calling them chonies.
Oh, dude, they're manchones, okay? They're duntanas, right? And so here's the thing. So they're full-on boxer briefs. So when I say duntanas, I'm not saying that, you know, my big ass is wearing a thong or anything. What I am saying, however, is my new pair of chonies here, buddy. Like, tell me something from a clothes aspect, right? Not from a physical feeling or anything, but from a clothes aspect. What's better than the first fart in a new pair of underwear?
The fresh out of the shower feeling for the front region in the new underwear.
Well, okay.
I'm not breaking it in like you. I think we're different people, B-Word. I really do. I already don't like underwear. I mean, if I didn't have to, I wouldn't wear them. I'm not trying to get deep, but it's just not. They're not. I don't know. I don't get excited for that. I get more excited for socks, I guess. I'm
mean,
a sock
socks
guy
are
compared to
nice.
underwear.
What kind of socks you wear?
Honestly, I wear 511 Tactical. My brother turned me on to them. And
Okay.
they're very like, you know, like I got the American flag. They have all the designs on them and everything, but they're comfy as
Right.
hell. They got the cushioning in the sole and the toes everywhere. They feel really
Do you
good.
go with the no-show socks or the ankle socks?
both.
What do you get?
Depends.
Okay, so that's what you do. So you don't like. You remember when we were growing up, we always had like the mid-calf socks, whatever
Yeah,
those
the
are
high
called.
the high calf socks, and then
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden high school it changed where you had no socks, like the
we
no-shows.
actually had to like roll our socks down.
Down so they didn't
You
show.
remember
And then
that?
you have your socks balled up in your feet.
Oh,
I
it was
remember
terrible.
that. No, the funny thing is when I wear shorts, I wear no shows, right?
Okay, yeah,
When
yeah.
I'm golfing, but then when I'm like in public, when I'm not golfing, I wear show socks.
Okay, I mean that's fair. But I typically wear no-show socks anyway, just because it kind of goes with everything. I wear jeans to work every day, so it's not really a big deal whatever kind of socks that I wear. But you know, and also I don't have to buy multiple pairs of socks, so that's kind of nice. But I'm really happy we're no longer in the '90s where we have, you know, the world's greatest socks, the world's largest socks here. That's all the way up to our knees. That was uncomfortable. But there's a lot of things about the 90s that I really like. Like, there were a lot of babes in the 90s, dude. Who was the hottest woman in the 90s for you?
Pamela Anderson for me.
Okay.
I think here's the thing: there's levels of that, right? So Pamela Anderson was like the dream. Like you went. Remember when we'd go to the fair, the Harvest Festival in Pahrump, and you'd throw. You had a few games that you'd always go play. You try to win a hat. You try to win a stuffed animal. But all the guys were over at like the posters where you threw darts and you'd win the hot chick poster to hang on your wall or the Ferrari. I wasn't a car guy. I always went for the hot chicks. And Pam Anderson was one of them. Like we've always said, I have the argument of two. And, it came down to Carmen Electra or her in those 90s, and I always went for Pam Anderson. But if it was like my boyhood, like crush, it was Tiffany Amber Thiessen from Saved by the Bell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Kelly Kapowski.
Or Topanga. I was I am a huge Topanga fan.
Topanga from Boy Meets World always had my heart. The Pink Ranger was one of my first crushes. I'll tell you that much. I mean, I think the Power Rangers were kind of a thing when we were in middle school, early middle school, somewhere in there. And the Pink Ranger was where it was at for me. So I'm gonna throw a little game at you here. You ready for this?
Okay, I'm down for a game.
All right. So, we don't really like to inflict violence upon anybody. And while we have misogynistic tendencies, we do like to respect women, right? Fair enough?
Oh, yeah, I think we do respect women. Yes, we're men, so we get parlayed with that. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So there's an atrocious game called, Fuck, Marry, Kill, right? Mm-hmm. And while I don't want to do that because it has kind of a negative connotation on the activity here, the one thing that I do want to offer is a similar game to this, okay? But one of them's called One Night Stand, okay? Baby Mama or Ex-Wife. All right? You good for this?
Ex-wife or wife up?
Ex-wife.
Ex-wife.
So you married her.
Her.
Yeah.
So
you're
all
having
these
to
in
pay
badly.
Alimony.
All these in badly.
Oh, dude,
for
all
you.
of them in badly.
Okay,
There's no happy ending here.
Okay.
There's no happy ending. This was the 90s, dude. When was there a happy ending? So,
yeah.
So, okay. So I'm going to throw some names at you of some 90s babes and some 90s actresses, some famous people, okay? And you're going to have to tell me which one is your one-night stand.
My baby mama or my ex-wife?
Is your baby mama, and which one's your ex-wife, okay?
I'm up to speed. Let's do this.
All right, man. So first set, I'm going to throw your crush at you. I'm going to go Pamela Anderson.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to go Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh.
And Demi Moore.
Oh, God. Ice trolls in there. I am not a... Oh, okay, so ex-wife is going to be... I'm going to say Sarah Jessica Parker's ex-wife.
Okay, what's your justification for that?
Got married, realized it was probably in Vegas, and I was hammered. And totally regretted it and wanted to get the hell out of there. One night stands Pam Anderson. I can make a video like Tommy Lee, hopefully get famous, make money, and I think she'd be good for one, and then I don't need to deal with the rest of that whole situation. And ex-wife's going to be Demi Moore.
Why Demi Moore?
Baby mama's Demi Moore because she already has kids that are all good looking, and I'm not going to try to step on Bruce Willis's toes. I mean, Ashton Kutcher already did that. I'm sure he got punked.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there.
Okay, I'll play this game. All right, so I'll get three for you. All right, big in the 90s, I'd say Meg Ryan.
Okay.
Winona Ryder.
Oh, okay.
And Bette Midler. I'm a big Bette Midler fan, though. I got a story about her after you finish this.
Man, you had to throw Bette in there?
Dude, Bette Midler's awesome. Don't hate on her, dude. She's the wind beneath your wings.
All right, so I'm gonna say ex-wife is Bette Midler.
Why?
And my justification is I married her when she was young. Okay.
What were you, like 5?
I mean, we're not going to talk about that for the pure reason of we don't want to accuse anybody of any crimes here, okay? But Bette Midler serenaded me, and I married her, and then realized I could do better. So that's going to be my ex-wife. You just got money
and ran. Just be honest. You chonies. You got out of there.
Absolutely. Winona Ryder's definitely going to be the one night stand.
What? That's disgusting. Yeah. That's disgusting. She seems like she's freaky in ways that people should be freaky. So I'm good like
with
not
Winona
shaving
Ryder.
her pits.
Chewbacca arm. But she would probably give a damn good haircut. So
Okay. Well,
So,
I don't care. It's your list.
and she's a thief, so she would steal my heart after the one night anyway. So there we
That's
go.
the lamest thing you've ever said on this show. Okay,
You know what?
so lame.
But this show's still pretty new, so I mean,
I don't
can
care.
still top
You've
that.
already set the bar high. I don't think I'm ever going to top that one. Winona Ryder's a thief, and she stole my heart. Anyway, all right. And why are you baby mama and Meg Ryan?
Have you seen When Harry Met Sally? She can fake orgasm for me anytime, and there's a good chance that it's just going to happen. So, totally fine with Meg Ryan.
Okay.
Totally fine. Right. And actually, I think one of Meg Ryan's she had the best introduction to Hollywood, and I thought that she was very attractive in Top Gun as Goose's wife.
Oh, so, yeah. That's one I always forget. She's in that, but my problem with her is she looked like a Muppet and always had the same haircut.
Well, yeah.
Her and Reba McEntire are Muppet women to me. Like, I like them both. Don't get me wrong. It's just that smile is so big, and it's just they appear like a Muppet.
Right. Okay, man. I'm going to throw another one at you. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to go Kim Basinger, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Okay. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Ugh.
And Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, I'm wifing Whoopi. I'm so wifing that
Why
no
are you
eyebrow
wifing
girl.
Whoopi?
Dude, because she'd make me laugh. I would have a freaking blast. All right, here's the thing. You're supposed to marry your best friend, right?
Right.
So, like, I'm wifing her because I'm going to have a blast. And I bet she's good in the sack. I really do. I really think, she's the most controversial on The View. And controversial women usually got it going on, okay?
I mean, you're not wrong.
No, I mean,
and here's
divorce,
the thing. I realize that this is going to be just an audio track that comes out on YouTube initially. Mm-hmm. But hey, guys, if you want to go look up Jake Madosic at Jake Madosic 31, you're going to see he actually does look a lot like Ted Danson. So this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I mean, my main thing is also she's like a middle class Oprah. I'll get a good chunk of change out of it. I wish you put Oprah on the list because I'm definitely wifing up Oprah. That's the dream, right?
Oh man.
Oh, so there was Kim Basinger and who was
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh God, I'm not a Michelle Pfeiffer fan. There's no, and
really?
No, and every guy's always said Scarface and Catwoman and all that, and nothing about her is attractive to me.
Grease 2, bro. Grease 2.
Okay, yeah, I'll get you that one. But see, that's not the memories I had of her. We're talking 90s when I saw her.
Dangerous Minds.
No, still not. She's the epitome of what coke addict Wall Street guys were looking for in the 80s. Flat butt, top heavy, skinny blondes that barely ate. I'm a chef. I like a healthy looking woman. So
she was a pirate's worst nightmare is what you're saying. She was a sunken chest and no booty.
It's a hard pick because I want to say baby mama because all I want to do is just get out of there and just fight with her in court.
Okay.
But I'm going to say one night stand just so I could try to forget. Like it'd be one of those where I woke up and going, that was a mistake.
So and you're going to baby mama Kim Basinger?
Yeah, I'll baby mama that.
Wow.
I'll baby mama. I had another one as you were talking and I'm going to change my list because I had Whoopi on it. And I know we both don't need to go down that. And I had another one with Michelle Pfeiffer, so I'm going to go, I'm going to be pretty nice to you. Helen Bonham Carter.
Okay.
Emma Thompson.
Ooh.
And Drew Barrymore.
Okay, so, all right. Baby mama is Drew Barrymore, and here's my justification. I think Drew Barrymore is just like your Whoopi. She's hilarious. I think she's fun to be around. I like almost everything that she's in. And so as a baby mama, I'm stuck with her for at least 18 years, and I'm just hoping for laughs. All right? Okay. So Drew Barrymore is definitely my baby mama. Oh, man. Emma Thompson is going to be my
one night stand. I already know it.
No, I think that she's going to be my ex.
Why?
I really do. How do I put this to you? So
I don't know. I hope articulately entertaining.
So Emma Thompson. So
I bet the problem is you're hard picturing her.
Well, no, because I'm thinking like Nanny McPhee, okay, with the big old nose. That's Emma Thompson that I'm thinking about here. And I think from an ex-wife perspective, she's obviously good with kids, right? For Nanny McPhee, she's creative. I don't think that there's going to be many fights, so I'm gonna ex-wife her, and then I'm gonna one night stand Helena Bonham Carter.
Helen
And
Bonham
the
Carter?
reason why Bonham Carter, yeah, the reason why is because every movie she's in, she's crazy, and I like that.
I like that too. I would agree with you on that one. I mean, just the scene in her in Fight Club just makes me laugh every time. I haven't been fucked like that since grade school. It's one of my favorite lines. That's one of my favorite movies. It's one of my favorite lines from a movie. And everything she's in, I like. I know she's married to Tim Burton, which really makes sense when you think about it.
Oh yeah.
But just I don't know. She's that crazy one that you could have fun with at 2 a.m. or midday or whatever. And I'm not just talking like the whole one night stand bed thing. It's just like in a diner. Like that's somebody you meet, you have a crazy blast with, and you're like, okay, that's gonna happen.
That's somebody who you share a beer with, and you're like, I'm fascinated by your stories. Like
so let me take my chonies off and be done with you. Yeah, you're right, Brian. That's exactly where you went with that.
That's it. So let me throw one last one at you, okay?
Okay, all right.
So I apologize for this one up front. No, I don't. You deserve it. Sandra Bullock.
Oh, I love her.
Kathy Bates. And Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, dude. You know what? I'm one night standing Rosie.
Justify it.
Reason.
Justify it.
I have a good reason. I need to know. I have to know because I'm thinking of like the what's that movie with her and Madonna, A League of Their Own.
Oh yeah, where she holds the bat.
I would actually ask her to role play too. I'd be like, hey, can you go put on a Rockford Peaches uniform and spit bubble gum at me and be like, don't start with me, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm down for this, and I gotta check it out. Like that's one of those things, like like a test drive of a car. Like you just gotta do it once. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna test drive a Tesla truck. I'm interested in that truck.
I love your justification.
She's the Tesla truck of a one night stand. Okay, we all think it's ugly. We all are very scared of it. We know it's robust,
but it has bulletproof windows, bro.
You need to know. I don't even remember the other two on the list. Ex or wife is a Sandra Bullock, of course. Biggest crush. I regret not saying. And the funny thing is, the crush I have on her is from a movie that not a lot of people are a fan of, and we all know I don't like amazing movies. The Net. I don't know if you ever saw that with Sandra Bullock.
I watched it when it first came out, and to be honest with you, I tried to watch it like 2 months ago.
Oh, it does not age at all.
Oh, no. That one hasn't aged well at all. It sucks. The movie's horrible.
I mean, but it's one of those, it's a guilty pleasure old school movie for me, you know what I mean? Like the difference of that, and I'm not going to try to go into a movie thing too deep, but like the movie Hackers, right? About computers. Didn't really age well, but it's still good.
Right.
The movie The Net didn't age well, and it's not good. I mean,
no, not at all.
No, but her, yeah, definitely. Everything she's in, she just seems like a wonderful person. If she became my ex-wife, it's because I did something stupid, not because of her.
Okay.
And who was the other one?
So you're gonna baby mama Kathy Bates, bro.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I'm down with that. I'll do that. I mean, I'm already look, and here's why.
Hold on. Is there a rationale aside from process of elimination here?
No, there's no rationale.
Bates absolutely.
There's two. Okay. I guess there's a process of elimination, but the other thing is I'm one night standing Rosie O'Donnell. I don't think I need a reason, Brian. Okay, dude. You've got to
recover, bro. You've got to recover. You've got to recover to Kathy Bates.
Yeah. I mean, what do you say to that? If you're sitting there at a drinking game with your bros, and the first thing they say is, "Oh yeah, I'm so going home with Rosie O'Donnell," they're like, "This game's over. We don't even need to ask him any more questions. He's batshit crazy. He's just as crazy as Helen Bonham Carter."
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know. Okay, I'm done with this game. Let's speak of something new going on. Did you catch the Venom 2 trailer?
Oh, yeah. Does a bear shit in the woods and wipe its ass with a furry white rabbit? Of course I checked it. What'd you think?
I'm still stuck on your bear shitting in the woods thing. I'm concerned.
Okay, so first off, before we get into the Venom 2 trailer, so that way we can set precedent here.
Okay.
What did you think of Venom?
I didn't like it. I thought, okay, I think...
And Venom's your favorite
Venom's my favorite character of all time, okay? Right. Venom's my favorite character of all time. I love all the comics, everything. My favorite series of comics ever is Separation Anxiety and Maximum Carnage.
Okay.
The only thing Venom, they finally got the CGI right. I think it was the perfect time to make that movie. It
Okay.
saddens me that Sony has it, and with the way they're doing the deals. I mean, I hope they connect the universes with a lot of Easter eggs that came in the Venom 2 trailer. That gets me excited.
Okay.
But I think Tom Hardy was the worst pick for Eddie Brock. Not that he's a terrible actor. I think Tom Hardy is an amazing actor. Okay, I loved him as Bane. I think every movie he's in, I like, and I like the quirkiness and what he does. But that's not Eddie Brock. That's the difference.
I picked that up too.
It's just too
from
goofy.
the Venom.
Like, when he's in the
it's a little
lobster
campy.
tank. Yeah, it's a little over the top.
It's a little campy. Yeah.
I understand in the comics, Venom talks to him and they're supposed to have some banter back and forth. But Eddie, and it's just like when they casted whoever it was from that 70s show as Eddie Brock in the first Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
You remember me. I was on the internet trolling that because I said Eddie Brock's a steroid-using, big beefcake meathead that goes to a 5-finger death punch show and punches his girlfriend in the face. And then they're later that night in love, and she's beating up the cops with him. That's Eddie Brock, okay?
Right.
Not a goofy guy who can't get it all together. And I mean, I understand it's also part of bad writing and the story.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like the movies that you like to hate on, like Kong vs. Godzilla. I went because Venom was in it, and I enjoyed some of the fight scenes because Venom was in it. But other than that, the rest of the movie was garbage. It was terrible.
Okay.
It's one of those, I don't understand why I watch it over and over, but I do.
We've got your precedent there, and I'll circle back to Venom here in a little bit, but I want to get your take. I'm going to ask you a couple questions on Venom.
That's fine.
And I just kind of want to get your opinion, and then we'll have a little bit of dialogue. We'll have a little bit of dialogue about it. But what did you like about the trailer?
That they cut Cletus Cassidy's hair.
Yeah,
they trimmed the wig. I liked a lot of the Easter eggs of like. Me and you are like that, where I like to dig deep, and I also, will go on and watch YouTube shows that also point it out. But I try to find as much as I can on my own. I did like that the Daily Bugle symbol was the same one from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe, which means also if it's connected to the Morbius movie and Spider-Man's posters in that with murder written on it, we got to be connecting it somehow, especially if No Way Home's going to be connecting it.
Right. Well, but is it connected to Peter Parker?
It's connected to Peter Parker.
And which Peter Parker is it connected to?
It's going to be Sam Raimi's Peter Parker.
You think it's Toby?
I think it's Toby. I think it's when Toby's older, he moves across the East Coast, and they're gonna come up with.
How do you justify that compared to Spider-Man 3?
I did not think of that question.
Spider-Man
that's a tough
3
question.
had whoever the actor that played Eric on that '70s show, whatever that goofy guy's name is. He was Venom, right?
Right.
And so because like you,
Recast
I
it.
also like
It's recasting.
Well, yeah, I mean it went from Terrence Howard to the new guy, right?
Right.
So no, I'm totally fine if they wanted to recast, but you're reintroducing a character that's already been introduced, I guess. And the other thing is that if you go back to Venom, because I like the fact that they had the Daily Bugle logo, but when in Venom, when Eddie Brock's talking with his girlfriend, she says that he was fired by the Daily Globe out of New York, and that's what made him come to
I did, you're
San
digging
Francisco.
deeper than I did, and I did not think of that. So I guess I want it to be connected to what's his name? Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
Right.
Somewhat ties in to the next, and maybe they're just doing that thing. Andy Serkis is doing that thing where they're just throwing in that logo just for like, how sometimes movies just do that. But why put it in a trailer then, and why make a point about it? So that'll be interesting to see. I liked how Carnage looked. I think it's going to match up well. I like that he has the weapons. I loved the writing on the wall from Cletus.
Oh yeah, that was pretty legit.
And
yeah.
I think they've already given away how he's going to become. I think it's going to match up closer to the comics. I mean, the only difference was Eddie Brock was in jail, and you know how Carnage is born. It's an egg that comes out, and then all that. I think when he's writing the letters, and his blood's on it, somehow going to fuse, and then he goes back, and then instead of getting lethal injection, he's going to turn into Carnage, which will be great. I'm
totally okay with that origin story of Carnage. I think that with the way that they handled Venom in the first movie, where Eddie Brock's obviously not in jail. He's not next to Cletus Cassidy. They don't have that relationship. He's a journalist. He's interviewing Cletus Cassidy supposedly in this movie. I think that's probably the next best way to be able to create carnage in this movie. But does the fanboy in you kind of wish that they would have kept true to the comics?
No. No, because here's the thing. I think they're doing too many comics. I think they're actually going to tie in some of the Absolute Carnage, Maximum Carnage, Separation Anxiety. And the reason is because they had a chance to do that with the first film. When the trailer first came out for that and we saw all the characters and the other symbiotes that were probably going to be in it, we're like, okay, this is Separation Anxiety. It's going to be great. They're going to have Shriek, you're going to have Toxin, you're going to have everybody, right? And then we saw almost none of that. And so the reason I don't want them to keep it true to the comic, because then I would go into it with an expectation that it needs to have this, this, and this, and then I get more pissed off. Like, I was one of those people when Spider-Man first came out, the original with Tobey Maguire, I was mad that the Green Goblin suit was the way it was, and it wasn't fused to him, like the comic book.
Yeah.
And then I got over that, because now looking back at it, I'm like, wow, it's actually really cool, and it's really good. And so sometimes, you have to take that step back. And I think I might feel that way. I feel that way a lot more often with comic book movies, because how they make it more realistic and stuff. Like Killmonger, for example, was, in the movies, was he his cousin?
Yeah, he was his cousin.
Right, and he's not. And you know what I mean? That I don't care. Like, those little minor details can be gone, and that's fine. So I don't need it to be exactly like it, because you get a slippery slope when you try to do that, because then you have to keep true the whole rest of it. Because then you got fanboys that are pissed off going, well, yeah, they had the origin, and then what happened? Then it all went to crap, and they could have just kept on with that story. So I think they're smart not to totally do it like that. But also, they've already laid their bed, and they got to try to write around it. And that's the problem I'm having with Sony more than anything. It's almost like DCEU, where... I was actually arguing with somebody this morning about it, where they were talking to me like, they totally screwed up the whole universe, and how do you backtrack that? And just like you're saying, like, I'm excited about the Daily Bugle thing, then you pointed that factor out. I'm like, oh, crap, yeah, that's right. We got to really... He worked for the Globe, and how do you bring in this guy? We already had a crappy Eddie Brock. How do you justify all this?
Right. So here's a couple questions I have, because I think that you can justify it, but I think it's going to have to be a broader storyline than just Venom 2. Okay, so couple things that I saw on it. So obviously we talked about the Daily Bugle, right? In the first movie, okay, when the astronauts when they crashed, did you catch what one of the astronauts' names was that died?
Was his last name Jameson?
It was. It was J. Jonah Jameson III, which would make it J. Jonah Jameson's son.
Right, which is like in the comics, yeah.
Right. So my question is, my question with this, because we know that this movie is also crossing over with Morbius, right? And in Morbius, you had the murderer graffiti over Spider-Man's outfit, and it was the Spider-Man from the Sam Raimi comic. So I'm good with you there that you have the Toby, basically, right? But then in the Morbius comic, you also had Vulture, Michael Keaton's Vulture, who crossed with Tom Holland, right? So now and then you're hearing about Spider-Man No Way Home, and it's supposed to have Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2, the Tobey movie.
Jamie Foxx's Electro.
From the Andrew Garfield movie, right? And then you're also having, I would assume you're going to have some other characters from the newer Spider-Man films. So here's what I know. I know that Doctor Strange is the mentor, if you will, in No Way Home. So we had Tony Stark in Spider-Man. In goatees. Right.
Sorry. Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. We go goatee, eye patch, goatee. Okay. So goatee with Tony Stark in Spider-Man Homecoming. Then you have Nick Fury in Spider-Man 2. Right. Now you have Doctor Strange in Spider-Man 3 in the new movies. So my question is, and this is where it gets broader, and this is where I kind of want to intrigue you a little bit. Is it possible that in WandaVision, that Wanda created a wrinkle in the multiverse that has opened the doors for all of these universes to be able to join together, where these characters are now crossing over? And if so, is it possible that in the Venom 2 and Venom movies, that it's not even a Peter Parker that's the Spider-Man there? That it could be a Miles Morales, or it could be a Gwen Stacy as Spider-Man in those movies. And if I'm right, if that theory is right, and I'm not saying I believe that theory, but if that theory is right, How do you feel about that?
I don't mind that. My problem is how do you now you're convoluting. So, all right, you're leaving it in the hands of Sony, where you're expecting them to be able to explain all that. And I know they're in
Right.
association with Marvel, but
Right.
look at how many characters we thought we were going to get in Venom, and look what
Sure.
happened. And
Sure.
so, I
Well,
mean, I'm already scared because we got Toxin and we have Carnage, and we were already worried about how it was just going to be with wig wearing Cletus.
right.
And you know what I mean? So, how do you. I like where you're going, and I'd be happy with that. I just don't see him pulling it off because I think then, okay, that's way too much for them to try to do. And maybe they keep pushing this back because, all these films, I know we got pushed back because of COVID and stuff too, but
Sure.
they're really, this might be a good thing where they're really working these little kinks out. And
And
it gives them a chance to do more.
I would be good with it. Because who's the lady that was in charge of Sony for a long time? What?
I don't remember her name, but I've seen her when she's in the
Okay.
interview with Kevin Feige talking about a sandwich or something.
Right. And in that, I think it was in that same interview, she was talking about that Spidey will cross over with Venom eventually.
Yeah.
And she never mentioned Tom Holland. She said Spidey. And so I think there's a few things here. You mentioned Toxin. Obviously, the detective, I think he's a detective, Mulligan, in the Venom 2 trailer. That looks like he's actually going to be Toxin, and Toxin's pretty badass in the comics, if I remember right. And you would probably know more about this than I would. If I remember right, didn't Carnage and Venom actually have to team up against Toxin because Toxin was that powerful?
Yes, because what happened? Okay, so how it basically breaks down, and and I'm not trying to give you a lesson on this, but is
No, I'm definitely fill me in because I'm not as
Venom's the
experienced here.
parent of Carnage, right? And
Right.
so the whole goal of symbiotes is they're meant to be stronger than their parent, right?
Right.
So what happens is Venom comes out and Carnage gets created, and he's like, oh crap, and it's like that alpha thing where they only want one of them around. So
Right.
during separation anxiety and during Maximum Carnage, he goes up to Spider-Man, and Venom and Spider-Man team up and they try to defeat Carnage. Well, then Toxin comes out, and that's when Carnage finally goes, oh crap, there's one worse than me. We need to go we need to go beat him up. So yeah, him and Venom sort of come together. And then they go after him. My main that brings up another point though of what I don't like about this Venom series is I don't mind that, because he is an anti-hero in the comics.
Right.
But if we're gonna go with origin stories and stuff, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
That's my
Yeah.
issue is that they
Right.
have already painted a picture in the first one, and I understand because he wasn't connected to Spider-Man and all that stuff, and he hasn't had his white spider yet. So you
Mm-hmm.
can kill me for that because he hasn't had that. So technically, he's not totally the same character,
Right.
but he was a villain, and so you've already skipped that path, and you almost have an Agent Venom sort of thing where Agent Venom's in San Francisco, and he's totally different. He's an anti-hero, and Venom becomes that later in the comics. But if we're going to do an origin story, we need to explain that because what is he still? We don't, what I mean? He's pretty much a hero.
It's not
which
explained.
really bothers me.
Yeah, and the thing is that Eddie Brock in the movies is a good guy. He's the protagonist. You relate to him. You like his story. You like his personality. You feel bad for him when he loses his job and he's going through all these sort of things. So I get where you're going with that because that's where I struggled with Venom. I thought that Venom standalone was an okay movie. I thought it was, like the very first X-Men movie that I saw. I thought it was okay. I thought, okay, well, you've got some potential here to work with. I didn't, I'm a traditionalist when it comes to comics. I really like for them to rely on the comics as their source material. And I felt that not having Spider-Man being able to go into outer space, like they could have, I think, relied upon Avengers Infinity War, where Peter comes into space and all of a sudden Marvel makes his suit black. And then he comes back to Earth and disappears, or he does whatever. And then that's where that comes from. Even though they're not tied together, that's where that could have explained the symbiote. And that's where I wanted that in Venom, and I didn't get that. Like you, I thought the CGI was really good. I thought that Venom was actually really good in his fight scenes. I'm not a big fan of Tom Hardy doing the Batman voice, though. His version of the Batman voice, the Christian Bale Batman voice for Venom.
Right.
I would have much rather preferred and not to be like the I am Groot here, but if you're going to kind of do that with a character, I wouldn't mind a voice actor of Vin Diesel or somebody else who could have come in and voiced it. Obviously, maybe not Vin Diesel because of Groot, but you get what I'm saying. A second
Well, I would
actor
have
to be
liked
able to
and
do
I can't
that.
remember. I can't remember his name. Not trying to interrupt you, but he's a black guy, and he's in a lot of movies. He's got a little bit of gap in his front tooth. He's in a ton of movies, and his voice is it not Vin Rames, but I'm gonna look him up. But his voice,
Michael Clark Duncan.
No, it's not that deep. Let me find this guy real quick while I'm making that point. His voice, I think, I don't think Venom needed to have like a. I think it just needed to be a guy with like a cool, good voice to just make it you know what I mean, to do it, because it's sort of like what we get mad about with as you're saying, the Batman film, right?
Yeah.
That it's too much of a trying.
It was overdone, and I think I've not that we need to go to DC right now, but Ben Affleck's Batman, obviously it was distorted a little bit, and it was done that way with a voice changer. I think they could have done something similar to that with a Christian Bale. Who?
Keith David.
What movie's he been in?
Look up Barbershop's one where he was the guy trying to buy the barbershop from Ice Cube.
Oh yeah. Okay.
His voice is perfect
he would be really good as a voice actor for Venom. And again, you don't need the deep, raspy monster voice, right? We don't. I don't know why Hollywood thinks that we need that. If I have a hard time hearing the character try to speak, that's kind of hard for me. And I feel like with Venom, it's more of a deep mumble, and I just don't appreciate that.
Well, I was going to ask you this. To me, it sounds different too. This trailer.
To be honest with you, I'd probably have to watch the first one and then compare it to the trailer just to see, because it still kind of had that deep raspy mumble voice that I just didn't like. It wasn't something that appealed to me. And candidly, if they even just wanted to do like a voice distorter with Tom Hardy and then do it that way as opposed to him just going like this, like maybe that would work out a little bit better for me. Kind of like how they did with Benedict Cumberbatch in Doctor Strange when he went to Dormammu, because Dormammu's voice was actually by Benedict Cumberbatch. So
right.
I would have been fine with something like that, but it boils down to it's Sony's, and it's their prize right now. It's their moneymaker right now, aside from Spider-Man. But I have a couple questions here for you as we kind of close out the Venom stuff here. So do you anticipate that there's actually going to be a crossover with Morbius and Venom 2?
Yes.
Like actual post-credit scene or
post-credit,
okay.
Or just very, very subtle throw out, not actually saying they're in the movie together, but I think that'll happen. I think it'll also have another character from that shared universe to sort of cross over.
Okay.
I have a question for you as we're asking these.
Okay.
Since we're talking about his voice and we recast that, I'll tell you my opinion because I've had a strong one. I know we've talked before about this. Do you like Woody Harrelson as Carnage? That was going
to be my next question to you. I don't know. Like in the end credits of Venom, I didn't like him. I didn't like him as Carnage. And some of the like behind the scenes stuff that's been leaked, I think it's okay, especially now that they cut the hair. I think that works out better for me. I mean, it's better than Carrot Top, right?
Yeah,
so,
I love Woody Harrelson.
He's one of my favorite actors.
I hate him for this part. And I think he's a great actor. I think because he's going to do it Woody Harrelson style, a little over the top.
Right.
And I don't think my dream pick for this was Damian Lewis from Billions.
Right. You and I've talked about this. Damian Lewis from Billions.
It's not just because of the look. He's got the crazy eyebrows. He's got the smile. He's got the
hair.
Nature. Mm-hmm. And it's not. I'm not one of those people that just cast somebody because they look like it.
Right.
I think it helps.
Right.
Especially with comic book movies. I mean, we're not going down that '90s path where you just casted a guy because they look like that.
Right.
But he's also a really good actor.
Right.
And I think he could have pulled off the sadistic nature of this a little. And mind you, I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really. All we're going off of is the Carrot Top scene at the end of it, and a little bit from a trailer, and it could be amazing. But I would recast that if you could. So who would you cast instead of Woody Harrelson, or is it the same pick?
You and I've talked about Damian Lewis as Carnage for so long that I don't know that I can see anybody else being Carnage, just because you and I've been talking about that for years, even prior to there being a Venom movie announcement. So I think Damian Lewis would be good. He's a serious actor. I think isn't he British initially? And so he does a great New York accent in Billions. And if you haven't seen Billions, I'd recommend you watch Billions, because he's a phenomenal actor. But here's the thing that I'll kind of question for you too. If you think back to Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield, they started to introduce, I think it's the same one with Electro. They started to introduce the Sinister Six. And we had Rhino. And Rhino was played by another actor from Billions, Paul Giamatti. Yeah. What did you think of that casting?
I thought it was good. I thought it was an interesting take. It was enjoyable to have it, especially because the way they were going more technology and stuff. Like, if they did it now, I'd want to see, just for look and brute idiotness, is Brock Lesnar.
Oh, see, that would...
Just because he would look just like the comic, but just also, like, he doesn't need to have a lot of speaking lines. I mean, all right, when you're looking at Spider-Man's rogue gallery, let's say, and there's 5 villains in front of you, and let's say we got Doc Ock, Scorpion, Mysterio, Rhino, and let's just throw out Venom. Who do you want to hear talk the most? Rhino and Venom are the bottom 2 on your list.
Yeah, I'd probably want to hear Doc Ock. Doc Ock's maniacal.
Yeah. Right, but I mean, just in general, like, you don't need to hear... What's Rhino going to say? I'm going to run through this wall. He's pretty much just going to be bossed around.
Right. It's like Juggernaut. I'm Juggernaut, bitch. Like that's really all he needs to say. And actually, that's the only thing that Juggernaut has ever said that I truly appreciated, even into Deadpool 2. But that's a topic for another story. Yeah. So let's talk Sinister Six for a brief minute, and then we'll get off of this topic. So here's the characters that have been announced in the Spider-Man universe and or Venom universe. Okay, the Rogues Gallery. We know that Jamie Foxx is going to reprise Electro. Okay, I forget what the actor's first name is, but last name is Molina. He's going to be Doc Ock again from the Tobey universe, right? We've got Michael Keaton as Vulture. We've got the Scorpion character already, and that was in Homecoming. Okay, we've got Miles Morales' uncle. I don't remember what his name is, but he's in there.
He's the Prowler.
The Prowler. There you go.
I don't think he'll be part of the Sinister.
I don't think he's going to be that. I don't think he's going to be that big of a character. But now we're hearing whispers of the Green Goblin potentially coming into No Way Home. We're also introducing Carnage into the Venom universe. And then we've also talked about, oh my gosh, what's his name? Starts with a K.
Kraven the Hunter.
Kraven the Hunter. Okay. Now, Kraven's not been introduced yet. Green Goblin's not been introduced yet. Who's your dream Sinister Six lineup based on all of those characters I just named?
Doc Ock, Scorpion, Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal, because I don't think he's dead.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Mysterio. Yeah.
I don't think he's dead. Chameleon, if they could cast him correctly, if he would be a surprise character. If not, it's, because that's a toss-up between him and Green Goblin, depending on who plays it and how they do it. You know, because if they reprise William Dafoe, of course I'm going to throw Green Goblin out there.
Willem Dafoe was great.
Right. I'm not putting Carnage or Venom in that. I'd put Kraven the Hunter, but I'm interested to see how that story is going to be and who's playing it.
Oh, and also Morbius. That's another one that I forgot to announce.
And Morbius is just not an in-depth character. And I'd rather see Morbius go over to Blade and make that connection, just like when Blade and Spider-Man connected, rather than him be part of the Sinister Six. So what do I got? I got Mysterio, Doc Ock, Scorpion, Green Goblin, let's say, Electro, and honestly, the Shocker.
The Shocker?
He was in it.
Really?
Too. He was in
it. He was in it. But that one surprises me.
Because here's the thing, you got to have a low-level guy that you don't care about. Because we know this in movies, and Vulture's there, but I think he's already been played, and I just think, Michael Keaton's getting a little too old, and he's already a boss character, and we don't need another boss.
Right.
The reason is because if you have too many characters, right, then you have to have too many story arcs. And if you throw a guy like the Shocker in, like they did in Homecoming, and he's there, and he just has a few cool fight scenes, that's all you care about. I mean, who's really interested in going in depth on the Shocker's character more? They're not. Who wants to see him maybe fight and get into that, and then you're like, okay, now I just need to focus on these 4 over here, and he's just going to get bossed around. They need a character like that. And I think that's sometimes what we miss is we just want all A-listers. You know, and I've told you this before when we've talked movies. I don't need to have every actor in. I steer away from a lot of movies unless it's like Ocean's 11 or something where there's too many stars in it, because how do you focus?
Right. Like so the Expendables.
I'll give you this last one, and then we'll totally be done. Who would you recast right now as Venom?
As Venom?
Yep. If you had a chance to recast him, or if let's say we were starting over, or this sequel, they were going to go, hey, we're just going to do a new guy and move on from Tom Hardy. Who is a better actor to play him?
Honestly, I'd probably want to go with somebody unheard of.
Okay.
And I hate to say that. But like you, I don't think that A-list actors need to show up and everything. I mean, you look at like Captain Marvel, and Brie Larson obviously is a well-decorated actress, but she for the role of Captain Marvel was kind of an unknown. Or you look at Jason Momoa for Aquaman. I mean, Jason Momoa, people knew who he was, but he wasn't really defined in the industry. Chris Evans for Captain America, same thing. I would much rather them pull out a newer actor or actress in future storylines. So for Venom, I would want a newer actor. But since you're bringing it up, I mean, have you thought of somebody?
Dominic Purcell.
And who is that?
From Prison Break. He was in some of the CW Flash things, I guess. But and then he was Drake in Blade Trinity.
Okay.
He's got the look. He's got the attitude, the voice. I think he would be a good pick because he's not a super high-level actor, but he's acted in comic book movies already. Okay. And the appeal, and like to me, when I see that type of character from Prison Break, he's more of an Eddie Brock than Tom Hardy is. Tom Hardy could have been if he played like Bronson or somebody like that, but he didn't.
Right. What I really enjoyed about the Venom character is, and you know, when we were kids reading the Venom comics and even in the video games that featured Venom, he loved to eat all kinds of weird shit, right? And even in the Venom movie, he was so hungry for human flesh, right? He just wanted to eat anything. And in the new Venom trailer, they even have a little pizza box that's put up there that you don't eat humans. Yeah. Right? So you're the chef. Give me your Venom spin on some food. What's some weird shit that you've eaten?
Balut. And I actually like it.
What the hell is balut?
Balut is where you take a duck egg and it's halfway embryonized and you boil it and eat it like a hard-boiled egg.
That's disgusting.
When you open it, there's feathers and part of a chick, and it's a delicacy in other countries. I think it's delicious. They say it's an aphrodisiac, which I will tell you a rule as a chef. If they say it's an aphrodisiac, it's because nobody wants to eat it or they're trying to get you to eat it. That's one of the weirdest things I ate, which I actually enjoyed. I think weird food sometimes surprises you. There's a restaurant down here from one of my favorite chefs. His name's Chris Cosentino. I just got his new Vans, by the way, he came out with for the workforce. They're awesome. I have his cookbook, and he does a dish called pigskin pasta.
Okay.
With pig's blood bolognese. So he makes like a red bolognese sauce with pig's blood and meat, and then he takes the pigskin and slices it down into spaghetti noodles and renders it and cooks it.
Really?
And it's interesting. It's just different. But when you see it, you're like, it doesn't look like spaghetti either, really. You know, it's one of those dishes, you know, you're getting something weird. There's a lot out there. I mean, I love sweetbreads. I'm a guy, I cooked a lot with offal, and that's not AWFUL. It's OFFAL.
And what is that?
Offal cuts are like the ones that are discarded or left over.
Okay.
So like pig's ears and snouts, or, you know, the pieces of meat that people don't usually want, you make food out of. And
so you've eaten quite a bit of this.
Yes, I like. There's a restaurant downtown Portland, Lardo. They do pig's ears. They fry them, and I mean that's not the craziest weird things, but you know it's still different for most people. One of my personal story is when I had a dinner event I did, and I'll post a picture up later to the Bleach Bros site. I did a smoked pig's tails where we pulled them and put them into little arancini balls.
Really?
Yeah.
And how much meat is in a pig's tail?
Not much. I had to have a lot of them. But the nice thing about offal cuts, and a lot of people are getting into it, is it's cheap. So I mean, a lot of people don't want to buy pig's feet, but they're one of the tastiest things on an animal.
The craziest things that I've eaten are not even compared to the craziest things that you've eaten. So, I mean, I've gone to the Rocky Mountain Oyster Festivals. They've got one in Virginia City every year, and then they've got when I was bear hunting in Montana. So here's a fun story for you. I was bear hunting in Montana. I think this was 7th grade year or 6th grade year or something like that. And I went up there with my stepdad, with his dad and his uncle, and we stayed right outside of Missoula, Montana, this little motel called Happy's. I don't even know if it exists anymore. And ultimately, we drove up there. We were bear hunting. We didn't see anything as far as bears go. I think we were there for about a week or 5 days or something like that, and we didn't see any bears. But day one, we ended up going to the grocery store, and I'm 6th grade, 7th grade, whatever. I'm not really paying attention to what they're buying, but I saw spaghetti noodles and spaghetti sauce and all this sort of stuff, and I saw Alpo tuna cans or Alpo cat food cans, right? Boy. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess we need to buy it for one reason or another. I didn't really know what was going on.
Hey, you're looking for bears. Maybe you're using it, right?
Yeah, I don't know. This was my first time bear hunting. I didn't know how to hunt a bear with maybe it is with Alpo. I don't know. Well, that night we had the most amazing spaghetti with meatballs, man. It was delicious.
You ate cat food?
Well, here's the thing, okay? I didn't know I was eating cat food, but apparently this is how you make meatballs in Montana, okay? is you make it with Alpo cat food. And as soon as I realized that, I started purring and licking myself, dude. It was crazy. I just didn't understand what was going on here.
I'm going to check to see if that's how chefs in Montana make meatballs.
Well, these guys weren't chefs by trade, but these were definitely how meatballs were done. But so fun story. We come back. We're driving back through Montana. We're going to hit Idaho and back down into Utah. Right. And we ended up going through Missoula, Montana, because initially we were camping or staying outside of Missoula. And so in Missoula, they actually have the annual Testicle Festival.
Testicle Festival,
and I got a T-shirt, okay, and the T-shirt said I had a ball at the Testicle Festival, and so I proudly wore that my first day back to school. And you know what I had to do?
Take it off.
Turn that shit inside out. Yeah,
that
was terrible.
I have one like that with weird thing. There's a place in Florida called Rotten Ralph's.
Okay.
And the first time I had escargot, but it wasn't like traditional French escargot. They would pick the snails off the pier and then cook them and then put them in this thick cheese sauce. And so we go to Rotten Ralph's, and I'm in 6th grade, and I eat a bunch, and I look up at the T-shirt stand, and there's a picture or a shirt, and there's a picture of a girl snail, like shell, and it's upside down, her head's poking out. And then there's a boy snail shell, and his snail shell is empty. And then you see a little head poking out of the girl's shell at the bottom of it. And all she says is, "Where did you learn to eat escargot like that?" And I got that shirt, and I got told to turn it inside out as well.
Oh, man.
No, I've eaten squirrel. I'll eat anything once. I'll try it. Because I like tripe and all that. But there's 3 things I want to eat that are weird that my wife will not let me.
Okay.
And they're all, so when I first was going into culinary school, I'm French trained, but I thought I was going to be a fusion chef, and I heavily relied on Asian influence due to a lot of people I lived with, roommates, friends, and I just like that style of food. Well, the first one is in Korea, there's a contest that you have against an animal where you eat it alive, and it can kill you, and it's an octopus. And so you take a baby octopus and you usually wrap it on chopsticks and you dip it in some like soy sauce or something and you eat it, but you have to eat it fast enough because it can suck with its tentacles. It could close your esophagus and try to climb up.
So do you actually like have to chew it, or are you just swallowing it whole?
And so when you watch this, if you like look at this online or anything, you'll see it. The tentacles will be poking out of your mouth and like grabbing your face, and it's you essentially. The only thing I think they do, I think they remove the beak so it can't bite you, and they're baby octopuses. But still, that's number one on my list.
Is it octopuses or octopi?
It's octopi, but I just like saying puss is better.
Yeah, I imagine you like saying pusses. Anyway, what's the second one?
Second one is it fugu? Fugu is the poisonous blowfish.
I normally just pronounce it "fuck you," but
fugu is poisonous blowfish.
Okay.
And I mean, they've gotten so good to where you're most likely people have died from it, and they say that, and that's what makes the allure of it. And people that I know that have eaten it, say it is a bit of a rush because you're playing Russian roulette, and it makes your lips numb because they leave some of the poison in there so you could feel it.
Right.
But I mean, like I said, chefs have gotten so good, and there's so many regulations and stuff around it. The last thing I want is people dying.
Right.
So even though you sign waivers and stuff, so that's number two. Wife says no because I could also die from that. And the third one's pretty basic. It's nothing crazy, but in Japan, it's tradition at some places when you go out for sushi. And maybe it's not tradition. I could be wrong, but I've seen it so many times. I just want to do it. Some places will take a frog that's alive, cut out its heart, and leave the heart on the tip of the blade and feed it to you.
Yeah, see, none of these appeal to me, my man.
And it's just, I think it's because they're more adventurous things to do. As a chef, I've cooked I've cooked a lot of food. And I've cooked, and not always well, but I've cooked a lot of things. I've tried a lot of things. That's how you develop your palate. And these are more like, I would call it the Olympics of food, where you've hit a new level where it's like, okay, well, I've never done that. I might as well try it. I'm not saying I want to go kill a giraffe and do it, but I've eaten lion before. And I've eaten kangaroo, and I've eaten.
I kind of think that animals like that are on certain continents, like, you're going to eat them at some point. I've got a friend of mine who, funny story. His name's Steven, and he pronounces the word garage, right? Because he's originally, so he was born in Canada, okay? But he was raised in England. But he's traveled the world so much that his accent's almost like Australian, right?
Okay.
And so I love talking with Steven about food because he has traveled the world, literally traveled the world. And some of the things that he's eaten is just crazy. And the one thing that he says that he's eaten that he would never eat again, monkey brains. Have you eaten monkey brains?
No, I've eaten cow brains. So monkey brains I haven't. Now, did he have it and I know this is probably a myth that where they say, they take the monkey, they put it in the table, you bash its head open and eat it.
That's what he said that they did, yes.
Okay, and I'm not surprised. I mean, I would do it. I'll just be honest. I would do it. I would do it. So
word to the wise, you and I will travel the U.S. together, right? But I'm never traveling the world with you. I don't want to be stuck in some colony of weird eaters that's just going to eat some weird rabid freaking snail dick or something. Like I want no part of this.
I'm like Andrew Zimmern on Bizarre Foods, where I'll try anything. Like one of the most interesting things I've ever had was I think it, and I could be wrong, but I believe it's called muktuk in Alaska. I have family up there, and I went hunting up there, and so instead of butter, Eskimos or Inuits will take whale blubber and let it sort of sit room temperature and sort of ferment on the table. Yeah,
I've heard about this. Yeah.
And then you spread it on bread, and it's delicious. It's funky, but also I love blue cheese. I call it stank rank. The rougher, the more it smells, the better it's going to taste, right? Okay. And so I have a palate for that. I'm used to that. Whenever I'd watch that show with him, I'd be like, wow, like I want to eat that. Like there's one dish that they went and hunted some type of penguins, and I was like, yep, I want to do that. I've eaten scorpion. I've eaten a lot of bugs. There's a restaurant up here in Portland called Vault that serves grasshoppers on a plate. And I remember I took my wife, and she thought I was ordering her a grasshopper, and then a platter of grasshoppers showed up. But I will say one of the most tastiest bugs on the planet is tarantulas.
Really?
They taste like soft shell crab.
Really?
I mean, look at the creature. It looks like a crab.
Yeah.
They taste. All you have to do is make sure you burn the hairs off, and that's not a joke. You really do, because they can get stuck and like burn you. But yeah, when I was 5, I had rattlesnake with my grandparents.
I've had rattlesnake. Rattlesnake's pretty good.
And that was one of those things. You deep fry it, and deep fried anything tastes good.
Yeah.
And I will attest to that.
Yeah.
But there is a few dishes that are weird that I wouldn't eat, Brian. And
well, okay. So let's figure out where Jake the Hater draws the line here. So where exactly or what exactly will you not eat?
There's a dish, and these are going to be way off the wall. There's this dish, and it's up in near like the Faroese Island, that sort of region of the world. You know what I mean? Near Greenland and all that. And they catch penguins, and they take another animal's stomach, and they throw all these dead birds in there, and then bury it for months, and then dig it up and then eat it, and it looks like bloody fermented soup.
To our viewers, if you've made it to this point in the podcast, I truly apologize. This has gone off the rails.
It's a true dish, though, and Andrew Zimmern ate it. It looks disgusting.
It sounds disgusting. Yeah. I mean, your description of it is foul. It's just wrong on so many levels.
And on a dad joke, it is foul because it's a bird, and it is foul.
Yeah, yeah.
The other one I hate, and people always laugh that I hate it. I hate uni, which is sea urchin.
Yeah.
At sushi places, I think it's overpriced for a bad dish. It's the most overpriced cut you'll ever get, and to me, it has the texture and look of bad mayonnaise, and I don't like the taste of it. And that's the thing about me, though, as a chef, is I'm also a texture person. So I'll eat something even if it doesn't taste the greatest, if it has a good mouthfeel. And I know it sounds dumb, but
I kind of feel like we're exploring some of your
not that. I knew you were going to go that route, but
yeah.
No, but it it enhances the
So let me probe that a little bit. So let me probe that a little bit. I got two questions for you. Okay. Two very, very quick questions, and we'll wrap this up. Number one, have you ever had the cream of some young guy?
No. That's a terrible, terrible joke.
Okay. So then let me ask this. Have you ever had hot boy butter sauce?
No.
Okay.
Is that a Bun Boy or Big Burger Boy? What is it? Bun Boy Burgers?
I think it's in the back door at Five Guys, but I don't know.
Oh, God. See, now you just went too far. I don't know. I just, there's a lot of stuff I'll eat, like haggis and stuff, but
I've had haggis. Haggis is good.
Yeah, my wife laughs, though, because the things I don't like usually are pretty simple. But yeah, no, I'll try anything at least once and have a very valid opinion. But it's very hard to turn away a dish for me because I appreciate, you know what I mean. I think you should try all food.
All right. Well, with that, Jake, I appreciate your time tonight. I want to come out and thank the audience for sticking with us this long. Make sure that you take an opportunity to follow us on all the socials: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. At Bleach Bros Pod, we're going to put out some more content. Our episodes are going to air every Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And with that, Jake, do you have anything to kind of tell us to wrap this show up?
Nope. Essentially, thanks for the dirty talk, and always come back and get sanitized.